This is Radio 2 on the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker and on 88 to 91 FM.
BBC News at midday, this is Kat Collins. Russia has renewed its attacks on the steel plant in Mariupol, which is sheltering the last Ukrainian fighters, along with around 1,000 civilians. Ukraine hopes to resume evacuations from the besieged port city today. President Zelensky has said Russia will invade more countries. The Ukrainian president said comments made by a senior Russian military leader yesterday confirmed what he had repeatedly warned. The commander said Russia's new goal was to take control of eastern and southern Ukraine, partly to gain access to a pro-Russian breakaway region of Moldova. Igor Munteanu is a former Moldovan MP. He says the threat to his country is real.
The statement of the general commander of the central district has to be seen as a kind of threat to Moldova. It can be seen as a call for action for the proxy groups in Moldova to challenge the incumbent government.
Supermarkets across the UK are limiting how much cooking oil customers are able to buy as supplies are hit by the war in Ukraine. Most of the UK's sunflower oil comes from the country. The British Retail Consortium says the restrictions are a temporary measure to ensure availability for everyone. Downing Street says Boris Johnson hasn't yet received a fine for a Bring Your Own Booze event he's accused of attending during lockdown. There have been reports that the Metropolitan Police have begun issuing fines for the event in May 2020. The Prime Minister, who has arrived back in the UK after his 2-day trip to India, did receive a fixed penalty notice for a different event. Our political correspondent Jonathan Blake says Mr Johnson is in a weaker position now than when he left the country.
Support among his MPs seems to be weakening, if anything. A couple more in the last few days coming out and saying that they think the Prime Minister should go. And one prominent backbencher, Steve Baker, telling The Telegraph today that he thinks the party will reap the whirlwind of this whole saga at the local elections in early May.
Disney World is being stripped of its power to self-govern after criticising a Florida law which limits the discussion of LGBT issues in schools. Governor Ron DeSantis has signed a bill to revoke a 1967 law allowing the company a special tax status in the state. Nomia Iqbal reports.
Disney's self-governing status in Florida has given it powers to build infrastructure, control utilities and reduce its taxes. But from June next year, this new law will dissolve that status. It's after the entertainment company publicly criticised Governor Ron DeSantis over his legislation which limits discussion of sexual orientation and gender identity in schools. Critics commonly refer to it as the Don't Say Gay law.
Crawley Town has suspended its manager John Yems after allegations of discriminatory language and behaviour towards players. Talking to BBC Radio Sussex earlier, he said it's the first he's heard of the allegations and that he's not currently in a position to comment, but hopes to do so early next week. Crawley Town travel to Mansfield Town in League 2 later. BBC News, it's 3 minutes past 12.
Thanks, Kat.
On the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker and on 88 to 91 FM.